Okay, we're gonna see a Mishnah. We're gonna see a Mishnah, and the Mishnah is going to say three cases. The first case: this is your get if I die. This is your get if I die. The halacha is it's not a get. If you say mehayoim mesi, this is your get from today. If I die, then we'll say it is a get, because we'll say that the get is given today, and it's chal lemafreya retroactively when he dies. So it's a condition. I'm giving you the get today on the condition that I die, and he fulfilled the condition. So since it was from today when he was alive, it's not a problem of get la'achamisa. In the first case where he said ze gitech imesi, then it's you get when I die. When I die, we know this ain't get la'achamisa. You can't give a get after you die. But when you say me'ayom imesi, it's as if what? You're saying the get is given now, and it'll be a good get for now when I die. Now the third case, mehayoim ula'achamisa. This is your get from today, and he doesn't say if I die. He says ula'achamisa and after I die. So in this case, it's a suffix, fellas. When he says mehayoim, is la'achamisa a condition? The get is from you today, conditionally like this case if I die, or no? Maybe he's having charata, he's regretting it, and he's saying no, it's really not from today, but it's a get after I die. So this case, mehayoim la'achamisa, is a suffix. And if I was a smart guy, I would have put in the word over here, chayletzes, because the Mishnah adds one word. Then you have to give chalitza. If the guy dies, there's no, right? If the person dies, then there is no, I'm trying to get this person on. Who's that? I don't know. If the person dies, then you're not sure whether she was divorced and she doesn't need anything, or she wasn't divorced and she needs yibum or chalitza. So al safik you give chalitza. So in your minds, guys, put the word chalitza over there. In your mind, put the word chalitza over there. And this chart will come in handy for the first part of the daf. The chart will come in handy for the first part of the daf. So let's see the cases inside the Mishnah now. Let's see the cases inside the Mishnah now. Says the Mishnah on Ayin Beis Amud Aleph. Ze gitech imesi. This is your get if I die. Mashma, when will it be a get? When he dies. If I die, so mashma, he was a healthy person. There's no reason to think he's going to die. But he says, if I die, it's a get. From when is it a get? After I die. Or he says, now it's mashma, he's sick. And he's saying, if I die from this sickness, but nonetheless, when is the get going to be chal? After he dies. This is your get after I die. Lo yom haklum. Didn't say anything. Why? Because ain't get la'achamisa. We're familiar with that. What about the second clause? Mehayoim mesi. This is your get from today if I die. Me'achshav mesi. This is your get from now if I die. How is a get? In that case, what? It will be a get. How is a get? In that case, it will be a get. Why? Because it's not a get la'achamisa. It's a get retroactively from the time he gave it. So that's clause number one, clause number two. Clause number three. Mehayoim ula'achamisa. This is your get from today and after I die. So here, listen to the words. This is your get from today and after I die. So now get ve'enoi get. It's a suffix. Ve'emes chayletzes v'lo misyabemes. And if the person dies, then what? Then you give chalitza, not yibum. You give chalitza, why? Because maybe she wasn't divorced and she's falling to yibum. You can't do yibum because maybe she was divorced and she's not falling to yibum. So in order to go ahead and cover all bases, give chalitza, that'll take care of everything, okay? You give chalitza, that take care of everything. The final clause, which we're not going to deal with today, this is your get from today if I die, which is usually is a good get, because he said me'ayoyim me'asi. V'amad v'halach b'shuk, and he gets up and then v'chala, then he gets sick u'meis. So if he was bedridden and he said this is a get from today if I die, then it's a get. What happens if he got better and then he died? Do we say the death is it's like, no, it's not a get because he got better? Or do we say that no, he still died from that disease? So therefore, the Mishnah says, Oimdim, I saw you get some doctors to evaluate. If he died as a result of the first disease, then that's the case of meis mechalizeh. And if he says, Olav, ain't I get, because it's not mechalizeh, it's the second chayla. He said it's a get only if I die from mechalizeh, the first one. But if the second disease, that wasn't the first, there's not a get. Okay, so now I'd like to do the Gemara outside because the Gemara can be a little vague. The Gemara can be a little vague. I'd like to do the Gemara outside using this itty bitty chart, which, albeit it's an inferior chart because I didn't put the word chaletzes in over here. If I put the word chaletzes in, it would have been a good chart. So guys, watch. Here's the two givens. Zeh giti imesi. This is your get if I die. So it's no get. It's mashma that what? That when you said the word imesi, that it's mashma like if the misa. This is your get if I die. And why is it no get? Because the imesi is mashma after I die. So ain't get lachamisa. This is your get if after I die. That's why the imesi is mashma. Why is it no get, guys? It's no get because ain't get lachamisa, correct? So let's read it. This is your get if I die, meaning this is your get after misa, no get. So the word imesi means lachamisa. What about this one? Mei hayoim imesi. This is your get from today after I die? No, that would be mei hayom lachamisa. So what does mei hayom imesi mean? This is your get if I die. Imesi is mashma now. This is your get if I die from now. It's mashma if I die from now, which is before, which is me'achshav, which is now. So we have these two dinim in Mesi and Mesi are size of each other. In this case, it's mashma lachamisa, therefore it's not a get. In this case, miyayom Mesi, it means me'achshav. Guys, why does it mean me'achshav? Because let's say it would mean la'achamisa. Let's say these words would mean la'achamisa, correct? So just stick in here the words la'achamisa. What would you have? Me'ayom la'achamisa. Me'ayom la'achamisa. Here is a get, is a suffix, because if im mesi equals la'achamisa, then clause 2 equals clause 3, and it will be a suffix. The fact that over here is a get shows im mesi can't mean la'achamisa. It must mean now. Because if it would mean la'achamisa, then it would be the exact same clause. Sticking the word la'achamisa over here, and it would mean the same thing. And it wouldn't be a get, it would be a suffix. So here's our problem. What does imesi mean? Does it mean la'achamisa, therefore it's no get? Or does it mean imesi? Or does it mean me'achshav? That's the problem. Says the Gemara inside. Alma, from the first clause, imesi k'la'achamisa dami. The word imesi means after misa. And therefore, what are you saying? This is your get after I die. That's ein get lachamisa, guys. V'hadatani mei hayoim imesi. This is your get from now, imesi from now. It's mash from now. And it can't mean lachamisa because then it would be the same as clause number 3. Alma imesi lav kalachamisa dami. So that's the kasha. What does it mean? So Amar Abaya imesi shtei l'shonis mashma. It can mean either one, and let's look at context. It can mean either one, and let's look at context. Mashma kima achshav, u'mashma kalachiyad. It's mashma now, like in the second clause, and it's mashma lachamisa in the first clause. Good. Amalei mehayoim. If he says the second clause mehayoim, kimanda ama meachshav. It's like he said from now. This is your get from now. If I die, very good. It's a get now. Clause 1, he doesn't say me'ayoim. He just says, this is your get if I die. Then it's la'acham misa. So therefore, it's a little, again, without this chart, I think I found it very wordy. With the chart, it makes a little sense. So let's look at context. If you don't say if you say me'ayom, it means now. If you don't say me'ayom, it means la'acham misa. And that would be explanation of that. Okay, that would be its explanation. Okay, now let's you know what? Let's use this chart again. Let's use the chart again, and let's do the foreshadow. On this clause, Rav Huna is going to say the following: this is your get in Mesi, so it says no get, lo yoma klum. That's what the Mishnah says. Says Rav Huna, you have to give chalitza. Says Rav Huna, you have to give chalitza. Good. On this clause, you have to give chalitza. Fed the Gemara, this is the clause. Number 3, you have to give chalitza. So if we introduce chalitza into the third clause, it must mean the first clause there's no chalitza. It must be you're divorced openly. In other words, when do you have to give chalitza if I'm not sure? So I'm not sure over here. Says Rav Huna, I'm not sure over here either. Says Rav Huna, if you're not sure over here, why did you go ahead and first introduce not sure over here? You should have said it over here. Here it's mashma, you clearly are sure that it's not a get. You hear the kasha, guys? Rav Huna is going to say on this clause the word no get. Just put in the word over here, chalitza. You know what? I should be able to write on this thing. I wonder if I can. No, I can't. I can't write on it. Okay. Oh, I could write. No, I could just make could I write? I can only draw this. No.
What if you hit the down arrow next to the pencil up top? Does it give you other choices?
I'm hitting that arrow. I'm going to erase over here. It says to erase this. I could erase this. I hit the arrow. It's clear, redo, undo, format, eraser, spotlight, stamp, draw. But the draw gave me, if I draw now, what could I draw? Could I draw text? Okay, I'm not going to fool around. I'm sorry. I should have worked, guys. The question's obvious. Again, look at the words. Let's look at the words, and the question will be obvious. This is your get if I die, and the Mishnah says it's not a get. Layam klum. Rav Huna says, you know what it means? It's not a get. It's a suffix get. It's a suffix. Says the Gemara, but over here it says it's a suffix. Mashma over here, it's not a suffix. The Gemara is going to answer that Rav Huna says according to Rabbi Yosi, and he says according to the Rabbanan. So therefore, it's the machloikas tanoim, and that's how we're going to learn pshat in the Mishnah. Says the Gemara. That's clause number 1. It's a suffix. Fred the Gemara it's mashma. You didn't give a get at all. How can you say it's a suffix? It's mashma. It's not a get at all. Says Gemara. You know what it means? Layam klum. Layam klum da sirila alma. That she's layam klum that she's usher on the world. However, v'liyavam nami asira. She's also usher to the yavam. So layam klum does not mean it's not a get. It means that what? That she's also on the world. But with the Sefer Chaletzes, when clause number 3 says Chaletzes, Machal Dereisha Yivuminami Miyadma. Mashma Loyama Klum, it's not a get, and she falls to Yibum. Kasha, clause number 1, that Rav Huna is learning Chaletzes versus clause number 3, says Gemara, Masnisan Kirabonan. Our Mishnah that said Loyama Klum is going according to the Chachamim, that if you don't say Mei Hayoim, it's La'acha Misa. Rav Huna Da'amak Reb Yosi, and Rav Huna goes according to Reb Yosi. Rashi tells us, where's this machlokes Reb Yehuda and Reb Yosi? It's a Mishnah in Baba Basra. And there says, let's take a quick look at Rashi, guys. Kirabonon, parallel to where we're up to. The pligi Allah, Allah Reb Yosi b'yesh neichman. The Katani, HaKoisif kol nechasav lebanoi. Someone writes over all his property to his son. Sarach sheyichtav me'ayom ul'achamisa. If he wants to retain rights while he's still alive, but he wants to give it to his son would have to interject the words from today and after Misa. Viloi and not, Havilei matana la'achamisa, and it's not a matana. So you have to write me hayoim. For hachanami, get la'achamisahu. And therefore, if you don't write me hayoim, it's a get for achamisa. So in our case, according to the Chachamim, since he didn't write in clause number 1, he didn't write me hayoim, therefore it's lo yamaklum. However, Rabbi Yossi continues the Gemara. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, and he holds like Rabbi Yossi, right? Let's see Rashi. What does Rabbi Yossi hold? The Amar Hasam ain't it sarich. You don't have to write me hayoim. The date of the star shows when he wanted the matana to be given. The mehayoim nasan that he gave it that day. Af eskufa karka. He gave him the karka itself. So guys, outside. Guy wants to listen. He for whatever purpose, he has different sons, let's say, and he wants to give it to one son. So he says, Reuben says, Shimon, listen, after I die, the get is yours. That's what it's yours. That's what he says. This should be yours after I die. That's the same thing as this should be your get after I die. By get, it's not a good get. By matana, it's not a good matana. Why? Because he didn't write me hayoim. That's the rabbanon. So the rabbanon of yesh noichlin would be rabbanon of get. Unless you write me hayoim, it goes after the fact. It's after misa, just like in matana lacha misa and get lacha misa. Okay. What happens if he says what happens if he doesn't make hayoim? But he wrote a date in the get in the star of matana that he's given to his kid. So he wrote September 1st, 2023. I'm giving my nechasim to Ruvain after I die. But he doesn't say, he says, Ruvain, I'm giving you a matana after I die. Why in the world is he putting a date in it? Says Rabbi Yossi, the date is there to show when he's giving the field to Ruvain. You know when he's giving the field to Ruvain? September 1st, 2023. But until he dies in January 2024, he's going to have the peiros, the use of the field. But you don't have to say, Ruvain, this is your get me hayom from September 1st. The fact that he wrote September 1st is enough. Good? Now, by get, there's no distinction between Kinyan peiros and Kinyan aguf. There's nothing that at all. But what does it mean if he gave a get? This is your get from September 2023, and he didn't say me hayoim, say machlokes. So therefore, it's according to Rabbi Yossi. So now we can explain Rav Huna's din based upon our Mishnah. We can explain Rav Huna's din based upon our Mishnah. This din, Zegiteich Imesi, is no get because it goes according to the Rabbanon. So even though you wrote September 1st, we don't care. Because you didn't say Me Hayoim. You didn't say Me Hayoim. Had you said Me Hayoim, it would have been a good get. Says Rabbi Yossi, says Rabbi Huna, I hold like Rabbi Yossi. That's mana shel shtar mechiach alav. So if even though you didn't say Me Hayoim, it says if you said Me Hayoim. Even though you didn't say Me Hayoim, it's as if you said Me Hayoim. Now, what's the question, guys? So if that's the case, why is it a suffix that you have to have chalitza? It should be a get vadai. If you don't say mehayoim, but it's if you said mehayoim, what's clause number 2? Mehayoim mesi, it's a get. So the Gemara is going to ask why, according to Rav Huna, do you need chalitza? Even without chalitza, it should be a full-fledged get, and she shouldn't fall to yibum. So that's the explanation. Says the Gemara inside. Let's see it now inside. It's a suffix, and therefore, in clause number 1, you have to give chalitza. It said you don't have to do anything, meaning she's not divorced. Says the Gemara, Katani loyam klum that. It says the Gemara, loyam klum da asira la alma. Loyam klum that she's also on the world to remarry. Uliyavam nami asira, and she's also on the yavam. Fred the Gemara v'amid the sefer chaletzes in clause number 3. That's where it says what? It's a suffix. Mechal dereisha yivumi nami yibma. It's not a suffix. She's not divorced, and therefore what? You could do yibum. Says the Gemara, our Mishnah that says she's not divorced is Maslisas Karabanan, who does not hold Zmana Shel Shtar Machiach Alav. For Rav Huna, and Rav Huna says it's a suffix in clause number 1. The Amakreb Yaisi, that's Zmana Shel Shtar, and you do not have to say Mei Hayoim. That's Rav Huna's din. The Amar Zmana Shel Shtar Machiach Alav. Fred the Gemara then, guys. Reb Yaisi, and you don't have to say Me'ayoim because the Zman is Shoshtar Machiach Alav. When you wrote the get in September and said this is your get after Misa, so it's like you said Me'ayoim. Chalitza Nami Loiti Boy. You should be divorced outright, and she doesn't fall to Chalitza. She's a Garusha, not an Almana. V'chi Tema Misafkalel Rav Huna Ihilchasa Reb Yaisi Oy Ein Alach Reb Yaisi. What are you going to say that he's Mesupik? Whether we pass like Rabbi Yossi or not, and therefore he said chaletzes al safek umi mesafkale for Rabbi Ravu cholash. Rabbi Ravu got sick. Oil gabei Rav Huna Rav Nachman. Amle Rav Huna Rav Nachman. Boy minei me Rabbi Ravu alach Rabbi Yossi ein alach. Amalei. So Rav Nachman said to Rav Huna, "Time of Rabbi Yossi lo yadana." I don't know the reason for Rabbi Yossi who would say it. It's a good matana to the son. Halachi mi boile. How can I ask him the halachas like that? I don't understand the reasoning. Somewhere Rav Huna told Rav Nachman, listen, at boy minei halacha. Right, you ask Rabbi Ravu what the halacha is. The time of Rabbi Yossi, I know I mean a lie, and I Rav Huna will tell you the reason for Rabbi Yossi. So boy minei. So Rav Nachman asked from Rabbi Ravu, what's the din? And Amalei halacha hachi amarav. The great Rav said halacha Rabbi Yossi. That's manas shashtam machiach alav. So you can't tell me what it's a suffix. Basa the nafik amalei Rav Huna told Rav Nachman hainu tam Rabbi Yossi this manas shashtam machiach alav. So what are you going to tell me, fellas? What are you going to tell me? You're going to tell me in this clause. I keep on going back to this because it makes sense. If you're going to tell me in this clause, Zeh Gitech Imesi, that Rabbi Yossi says it's a suffix, and why are you misupik? Because you don't know if the halach is like Rabbi Yossi or not. Rav said the halach is like Rabbi Yossi. So if Rav says the halach is like Rabbi Yossi, yes, that means take out the word Zeh Gitech, put in the word Hayoim, meaning now clause number 1 and clause number 2 are the same, right? Because you're not misupik, and therefore the din should be yes get and not suffix. That's the kasha. So why am I misupik according to Rabbi Yossi? Why am I misupik? Why is Rav Huna misupik? If the halach is like Rabbi Yossi and zman shashtam machiach alav, then when you said Hari Zekitech, it's as if you said Mei Hayoim from September 1st. So what's the suffix? That's the kasha. Says Gemara Ella misafkalei amibeis. Here's the suffix. I amar Rabbi Yossi boy valpeh oiloi. In other words, guys, when you gave the shtar, right? When you gave the shtar, right? You wrote in the shtar that this is your matana after I die. That's what you wrote. This is your matana after I die. You did write Mei Hayoim, but simply what? You said Zman Shoshtam Machiach Alav. What about a case of a get where he gave the get and he said the Tanai verbally? He didn't go ahead and say it outright. He didn't write it in the shtar. He verbalized it and gave the get and said, this is your get after I die. So in other words, clause number 1 was stated, but it wasn't written. It was stated. So maybe the suffix is, when's the halacha Rabbi Yossi? Is when the clause, the Tanai, is written in the shtar. Here's a shtar matana. This is your matana after I die. Where's the Mei Hayoim? Zmana shel shtar machiach alav. But when he gave the get, and the Tanai was not written in the get, it was verbalized. Maybe over there the halacha, maybe Rabbi Yossi doesn't say the halacha like that. So the shayla is maybe Rabbi Yossi does, and that's Rav Huna's suffix. Rav Huna's suffix is, did Rabbi Yossi say that in that scenario? Says the Gemara, Umi misafkale. Are we in doubt that Rabbi Yossi does not say Zman Shoshtam Machiach Alav in the case of what? Of a verbalized Tanai? Vatanan, a Mishnah, we learned this. This is the sugi, guys, in the beginning of Ksubis, of Yesh Tainus Oinus Begin, there ain't Tainus Oinus Begin. People tend to remember the first half of Masechta. That's why I bring it in. So if you do remember it, pat yourself on the back. And if you don't remember it, so people don't always remember. So now the guy, he says, this is your get if I die. And he dies. He dies and he didn't come. Ain't a get. It's not a good get. So the Tani Allah, Rabbi Seinu hitiruli nase. The Chachamim let her get married. What does that mean, get married? Of course she's get married. She's a Manashach. She's an Almana, or she's a Gerusha. So the Amra Ma Rabbi Seinu, Amra Rabbi Yehuda Mishmuel, Beidina Deshari Mishcha. It's the Bezdin that permitted oil. Now, initially, fellas, oil, just like Yayin Nesech, just like Gavinus Akum, they also passed halacha on the oil of Akum. And this Bezdin Matter said that you can use the oil of an Akum. They matted it. Right. And who is it? The Savi Lokreb Yaisi Damar, Zman Shashtach, Machiach Alav. The Zman of the Shtar is Machiach. So even though this was verbalized, guys, he said, this is your get if I come, I don't come. He said that what? That you would be divorced. You would be divorced according to Rabbi Yaisi, because Zman Shashtach Machiach Alav. Right. And therefore it's not get lachamisa. Right. Therefore it's a good get. So what do you see? That Yaisi would say a verbal tanai, even bisman sashtar. So what's your suffix? Back to the original question. Why was Rav Huna misupik if the halacha is like Rabbi Yaisi, say that zman shashtar mechiach alav, and even if it's bal peh, where's the suffix? Says Gemara el masafkale I halacha Rabbi Yaisi bal peh ein halacha. Okay, so now that's the shaila. So in other words, we know that halacha is like Rabbi Yaisi, and we know Rabbi Yaisi even says the din is zman shashtar when it's not written. The question is, maybe the halacha is like him only when it's written, like by matana. But if it's verbalized, maybe the halacha is not like him. In other words, we're really going ahead and being very finite. We're cutting hairs over here. It's not a carte blanche statement. The halacha is always like Rabbi Yaisi. Maybe the halacha is Rabbi Yaisi only when it was written, like by the matana. But when it wasn't written, good Rabbi Yaisi holds that it doesn't have to be the Tanai doesn't have to be written. It could be a verbal Tanai. He holds that way. And he would say that she's divorced on a verbal Tanai. Because question, Le'inyan verbal Tanai, is the halacha like that or not? So now the Gemara says, whether the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi or not by a verbal Tanai, V'marava, harizagitech im mesi, this is your get, like if I die, V'shani meis, in case I die, harizagit. Now this is in opposite of our Mishnah, guys. What does it say? This is your get if I die. Guys, this is clause number 1. What was clause number 1? No get. What is it saying over here? Yes, get. Now he's adding the words Ushani Mace. We didn't have. That means in case I die. So Rava seems to go ahead and be in confliction with our Mishnah, correct? What was clause number 1, guys? This is your get if I die. And we all know clause number 1, that means no get, correct? And over here, what's it saying? Well, this is what Rava says. How does I get Gitech Mesi? Is that clause number 1? Bobble that time. That's clause number 1, correct? And nonetheless, it says it's a good get. Now, what about Kisha Amos Ula'acha Misa Ainza get? Now, Hechidami, what exactly Rabbi talking about? If you're going to say it's Mehayoim, Virabanon, Tzrichel Meimar. In other words, what are you telling me? But obviously, Rava couldn't have meant Harizagitech. In other words, fellas, Rava could not have meant this. Rava couldn't have meant clause number 1 because he can't argue on that. So maybe Rava meant clause number 2. This is your get mehayoim mesi. Now, if that's the case, what's the chiddush? Rava is an Amayra. He has to tell me something the Mishnah doesn't tell me, correct? So if you're telling me, he says, I outright, that can't be. He can't argue on a Mishnah, correct? So it must be that he's not saying Zegitech, he's saying Me'ayom Mesi. This is a get from now if I die. Problem. So that's Pashit. That's Pashit. I'm keeping this open. Says the Gemara Vaita, for Abon and Tzrichel and Meimer that you have to tell me clause number 2, that's Pashit. But Tanan, Me'ayom Mesi, clause number 2, how is that get? Ve'elolav, the loy amaloi Me'ayom. He didn't say Me'ayom. So guys, If he didn't say Mei Hayoim, look at in other words, he's saying clause number 1. This is your get if I die. Rabbi said it is a good get, correct? How in the world can I get this to be a good get? Ayin get la'achamisa. The only way would be to say it's going according to who? Reb Yosi, who holds manish shtar machiach alav. Yes? Guys, Rabbi says a statement. This case, ze gitich imesi, is a good get. The only way to make it a good get is to say it's according to Reb Yosi, because he holds manish shtar machiach alav. Continues the Gemara. Shmami no halach Reb Yosi. Shmami no halach is like Reb Yosi. When he verbalized it, because he just said, it's if I said Mei Hayoim, and it's a good get. So what's your suffix? So why wouldn't Rav Huna hold in this case, guys? Why would Rav Huna say, if the halachas is like Reb Yosi, Baal Peh, why would you say no get? Why would you say chalitza? It should be what? Yes, get. She should be divorced. That's the kasha. Now, we're going back to the original kasha. In this scenario, Rabbi Yosi says chayletzes, the word over here, chayletzes. And we're saying, establishing that clearly whether this was verbalized al peh or written, it's a good, and the halacha is like that it's a good get. So if it's a good get, why would you hold that what? Chalitza. Why would you hold in this case chalitza if it's a good get? That's the kasha. Back in the Gemara. Rava pshita le Rav Huna mesafka le. No. Rava says, Rava said it's a good get. Rabbi Yosi, right? Rav Huna is an Amayra. He can argue on Rava, no problem. He was before Rava. He can argue on him. So he's arguing. He's saying, in the case Rava, where you say it's a get, I say what? It's a suffix. In the case where you say it's a get, I say it's a suffix. Now, so guys, look at the chart. So Rabbi is saying the following. You said Mei Hayom Imesi, correct? So what was the kasha? If it's according to the Rabbanon, it's the exact same case. Then what's he telling me? If this is Mei Hayom Imesi, that's the same thing as this. So what's Rabbi's chiddush? And the chiddush is the extraneous stuff, the lashonis that he said she'ani meis or kishamos. Rabbanon b'hai lishna it's trichalei shani meis ki'im meis dami. When he says shani meis, it's like ki'im meis. Kishamos is klacham yisadami. In other words, there in the words of Rava, there are words that don't appear in the Mishnah. The words kishani meis and the word kishamos, and that's his chiddush. And that's his chiddush. Okay, so now we had a question. What's our question? Our Mishnah says Zegitech emeis layama klum. He's not saying anything. Rav Yosi says chayletzes. Excuse me. Rav Huna says chayletzes. And with Zetzinyayin, it's going according to Reb Yosi, right? And with Zetzinyayin, it's going according to Reb Yosi. Why then is she not divorced outright? If you're telling me you say Gitech is manish shtar machiach alav, and it's the same thing as saying me'ayoin, it should be a good get. And the answer is Reb Yosi by Baal Peh is misupik whether the halacha is like him or not. Rav Huna is misupik whether the halacha is like Reb Yosi or not, and therefore he's misupik. Then you give chalitza. Any question? Guys, pretty good? Pretty good. Okay. There's another way, another dialogue over here. There are those who learn it on the Seifa on this case, guys. Right? This case. There's a case over here. Zeg. There's the Seifa of the Reisha. Look back at our Mishnah, guys. Look back at our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says 3 lashonos. Zegitech emesi, zegitech michalizeh, zegitech la'achamisa. So now, Rav Huna is saying on that statement, zegitech la'achamisa. Okay? The Ikar the Masnila, we're learning the dialogue, a Seifa. The Seifa means here the Reisha of the Seifa. Zegitech la'achamisa, layama klum. Right? Clause number 3 in clause number 1. Clause C in clause number 1. Layamaklum. Rav Huna u'divrei Reb Yosi chaletzes, because you're misupik whether it's a Tanai or it's Chazara. Okay, it's Pshita, right? It's Pashit that what? With the Sefer Rabbanon chaletzes, Reish Nami Reb Yosi chaletzes. Guys, if you're misupik now, me'ayom la'achamisa, So guys, look, you're putting it over here, the words la'achamisa, correct? You're putting in the words over here. We're going on the last case. We're not going on the case of Mesi. We're going in the words la'achamisa. So now clause number 2 comes with clause number 3. Mayom and Mesi, they're mesupik, correct? They're mesupik, right? So the ratio also, it must be chaletzes, because Rabbi Yossi holds manish shtamachiyach alav. So Madatem Rabbi Yossi b'ha karebi svirulei. I might think he holds another kula. Rabbi holds in the case of miyom lachamisa. Rabbi's going to say that it's a good get. The Amar Gitin ma'al Yahave, that the case of Rabbi is of the opinion, right? Rabbi is of the opinion that it is a good get. Rabbi is of the opinion that it is it's a good get. If you say me'ayom la'achamisa, guys, we said suffix. Good. Rebbe holds vaday get. Rebbe's not mesupik. Me'ayom la'achamisa. So what's your kasha? If the chacham say suffix over here, zicha Rabbi Yossi would hold suffix over here because you're saying me'ayom la'achamisa. So he would certainly hold it's a suffix. And the answer is maybe Rabbi Yossi holds like Rebbe. Rebbe would hold, guys, in clause number 3. I really wish I could write. Rebbe would hold me'ayom la'achamisa. He put in the word over here, yes, get. So you would think that Rebbe holds, since Rebbe holds over here, yes, get, Rabbi Yossi also agrees with Rebbe. Since Rabbi Yossi is makel by this case, I would say he's makel by this case and say it's vaday get. Kamash malon in this case chayletzes. Kamash malon in this case like kamash malon in this case if you would say la'achamisa, not in Mesi. Kamash malon we say me'ayom la'achamisa, it's chayletzes. So again, over here the words in Mesi stick in the word la'achamisa. Then it becomes like this. And if the chachamim are mesupik, then certainly Rabbi Yossi is going to be mesupik. Says Gemara, no. Maybe I would have thought the following. Just like Rebbe holds in case 3, it's a get. So it's so too if I say Miyom Alach Mitzah, he holds like Rebbe. Kamash Malon, Rabbi Yossi does not hold like Rebbe. That's the end of the Gemara. Let's see it inside.
Lays. I mean, I'm just confused. If case number 2 is number 3, I just don't. I'm missing something. If case number 2 is number 3, so what is the difference?
Case number 2, number 3, right? According to who? So that's what we're saying. We're saying the following. Watch. We're saying take out the word in Mesi and put in the words la'achamisa. Good?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, if you do that, if you hold me hayoim means me achshav, then vaday it's a get. That's why it would be a good get, right? Then it would be a good get.
Right.
If you so now, that's according to the chachamim. But mehayom ul'achamisa, if you put in the words mehayom ul'achamisa, so we said in clause number 1, we're going back to clause number 1. Clause number 1, ze gitech, this is your get. If la'achamisa, you don't say anything. Good. So now watch. I think I explained it the wrong way. I think you're right. I think I have to explain it this way. In case number 1, we say it's not a get. Good. In case number 1, we say it's not a get. Actually, guys, I'm redoing the whole sugya, not the whole, just this part. Correct. Good. So now, if you put in the word ze, so it becomes like this, according to Rabbi Yossi, because mehayoim, according to Rabbi Yossi, you have over here, you're putting in the words zman shel shtam achiach alav. So this becomes like a mehayoim. So if Rabbi Yossi, the Chachamim hold over here, it's a suffix. So too over here, he also would hold it's a suffix, Rabbi Yossi. There's zegitay la'achamisa, would be a suffix. So this would be a suffix, and this would be a suffix. So obviously, it must be what the chiddush is according to the chiddush is what can't be the Rabbanon, because if the Rabbanon hold, if the Rabbanon hold in this case, if you put in la'achamisa, it's not a good get. Just like Rabbi Yossi holds, it's a suffix over here. You hold it's a suffix over here. So the Gemara is saying, I would say the following. I would say that maybe in this case, number one, if you have two kulas over here. I would hold the holds like Rebbe. In that case, Rebbe holds yes get. Rebbe holds in case number one, yes get. So I would think that Rebbe Yossi agrees with Rebbe. Kamash Mani doesn't. That's the chiddush. So you're right. I was wrong in saying it's case number two. It's case number 3 and 1. Let's go through it one more time. This is your get, and put in the words here la'achamisa. Says Rabbi Yossi chaletzes. In this over here, put in the word chaletzes. Zagiti la'achamisa, say the word chaletzes. Says the Gemara. Obviously, it's chaletzes. If it's a suffix over here, it's a suffix over here. Of course, again, what does Rabbi Yossi hold? So you have this man and you have the words la'achamisa. So what did he mean? So the Gemara says, since Rebbe holds in this scenario, he holds yes get, I would think Rabbi Yossi also holds yes get. Kamash Malan Rafuna, he doesn't hold yes get. Kamash Malan, he holds chaletzes. Let's see it inside. The seifa of the Reisha. This is your get after misa. So guys, number one, put the word la'achamisa over here. Layama klum. Rav Huna Rabbi Yossi chaletzes. It's not layama klum. Clause number one is chaletzes. It says Rabbi Shita. With the seifa Rabbanan chaletzes, Reisha nami Rabbi Yossi chaletzes. Because now you're saying the same thing. Guys, watch. Look at the chart. According to Rabbi Yossi, zegitech mehayom are equal because manu shashtam mechiyach alav. So if it's mehayom, it's a suffix over here. You're changing two things over here. This word becomes mehayom according to Rabbi Yossi. This word mesa means la'achamisa according to Rabbi Yossi. So just like there's suffix over here, it's a suffix over here. You're doing the same thing. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Svirulei. Since Rebbe holds, guys, in this case, number 3, it is a good get. Doma get Yahave, the Chalitza Namle Tiboy, Kimash Malon, the Loy. Rebbe Savalak Rebbe Yossi, Rebbe Savalak Rebbe. Neither one holds like each other. Rebbe Le Savalak Rebbe Yossi, Diktani, Kizeh, a get, because he says in the case of Dayoim Kizeh, we'll see this in a second. Lamute the Rebbe Yossi, Rebbe Yossi Le Savalak Rebbe, Diktani Kizeh get Lamute the Rebbe. Rebbe Maihi, where's Rebbe? Who was Rebbe? Titania. Mayom la'achamisa get veina get diri chachamim. Guys, look at the chart. Mayom la'achamisa get veina get. Correct. Good. Right. Chachamim. Rabbi Yomer kazeh get. Rabbi says this is a good get. Good. Now Rabbi Yossi disagrees. Rabbi Yossi mani. So that's kazeh get, meaning Rabbi Yossi holds it's a get. Rabbi holds it's a get, but Rabbi Yossi disagrees. Now where does Rabbi disagree with Rabbi Yossi? Rabbi Yossi mahi datnan. Kasvu to get lishti, write a get, give it to my wife. I don't come for 12 months. Kasvu b'toich gid beis chodesh. If you write it b'toich 12 months, v'nasnu la'achi beis chodesh ain't a get. Rabbi Yossi yomi kizeh get. Rabbi Yossi says zman shoshtach mechiach alav. It's a good get. Rabbi would disagree. Okay, let's yotze midvareinu. Let's chaza just what we said this today. We have 3 clauses over here. In the first clause, zegite yemesi, we say lo yom klum. Rabbi says chaletzes. Rabbi Huna says chaletzes. Why? Because Rav Huna holds like Rabbi Yossi. What does Rabbi Yossi say? That ze gitech emesi. Once you went ahead and wrote a zman in the get, even though you didn't say the tanai, it's as if the tanai was stated. This is your get from when? From the zman that it's stated in the get. If I die, and therefore it's chaletzes. Fred the Gemara, why is it chaletzes? It should be mamish a good get. It should be no different than this. Says the Gemara, because from Mesupik, whether the halachas is like Rabbi Yossi regarding when he says a verbal condition or not. That's the shaila. That's the first way to learn. Second way to learn that the Rava comes along, Ikedemasnila, and you can go ahead and learn on the seifa. We don't have the seifa over here. I have to create the seifa for you guys. Here's the seifa. Take out the word emesi and put in the words la'achamisa. This is your get after misa. On that, Rav Huna says chaletzes. Says the Gemara, of course, if the Chacham say chaletz is over here, he says chaletz is over here. Says the Gemara, I would have thought Rabbi Yossi holds like Rabbi. Rabbi holds here, it's a good get. So if this is a good get, then if I write over here Zegitech, I don't write, but Zman Shosham Achiyachalav, that's the same as Mehayoim. In Mesi is the same Lachamisa. I would hold that Rabbi Yossi holds like Rabbi, and it not Chalitza, but it's a good get. Kamash Malon, that it's a suffix. Nice, easy Gemara to begin the morning with. I hope you got a little bit.
I'm really happy we didn't do it last night.
Are you kidding me? Are you? I was so happy I didn't do it last night. You have no idea. Okay. Anyway, B'ez Hashem. Right now it's 4:30. I haven't begun learning it yet. I have something to do during the day. Let's see what happens. Keep it. We will. There will be a share today. The earliest is 4:30. The earliest will be 4:30. Okay. Okay. Have a great day. I'll send you the link, Dr. Press.